In other news, the reported death of missionary John Chow has drawn worldwide attention this week. Chow was last seen by fishermen as he approached India's North Sentinel Island. He was attempting to reach the isolated islanders with the gospel. Those fishermen later reported seeing those islanders drag a body on the beach, which they believe is Chow's. Across the world, people have attacked the missionary for exposing the North Sentinelese to modern disease. His missions organization, Kansas City-based All Nations, says he took preventative health measures, and they include 13 immunizations and quarantining himself right before he left for the island.
Since he was 18 years old, he felt a call from God to share the love of God, the goodness of God with the North Sentinelese. And every decision he has made in the last 8-9 years has been to equip him to love and to care for the North Sentinelese. He was extremely well prepared in every way, and so that is why we supported him.
Days after Chow reportedly died at the hands of the tribe, Indian authorities still have not been able to recover his body. So what impact will this have on Christian missionary work around the world? I recently spoke with Dr. Cornée Becker, the Dean of the School of Divinity at Regent University. How should missionaries prepare to try to reach isolated people groups?
I'm not sure the criticism is warranted for a number of reasons. Firstly, we know that Mr. Chow got all the inoculations, vaccinations that he needed. He was quarantined for a little bit before he went in. Maybe the one thing he could have done differently, right? So Jesus said when people go out in mission, always go in groups of 2. It would have probably been a better idea for him to go. We also know that he did some language training as well. So when people prepare for mission, make sure you understand the language, make sure you understand the culture, and make sure that you go in groups, certainly of 2, so that you can make good decisions and good judgments.
Others have praised his passion and his willingness to follow God's call. The unknown health risks that he posed to the islanders, I know you mentioned the inoculations and so forth, but there were still unknown health risks that he posed to them and the risk to his own life. In your opinion, was he right to go to the North Sentinel Island?
I think it's of tremendous importance to go to every nation that has not heard. Unfortunately, Mark, we live in a culture right now where the gospel of Jesus Christ is no longer considered as the only way, as the only answer to the world's problems. And so I praise his passion. And again, we don't have the full scope of history. We don't know what is going to happen in the future. And maybe his sacrifice is going to be the catalyst for these extraordinary, wonderful people to come to the Lord.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that as well. Now, he's also been criticized for not going with other missionaries. You mentioned that, and for not getting a missionary visa. He had a tourist visa. Right. Was that a mistake in your view?
I think it's important as far as possible to work with the governments that we are certainly involved in or the country that we are going to. And so, yes, I think he needed to get a religious workers visa. But again, the Indian government has not allowed anybody to go to this island. And as Christians, we really don't have a choice in this matter. Jesus has been very clear. He says, go into all the world and share the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, some see a parallel to Jim Elliot and his fellow missionaries who lost their lives trying to reach a remote tribe in South America. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree?
I think there are quite a number of differences here, but again, it's the great scope of history. I would be interested to see what's going to happen in the next 10, 20, 30 years. It's very clear to me that this tribe ultimately will hear the gospel. And what if they are able to look back at this event and say, somebody loved us so much that they were willing to lay down their lives for us? This might be the catalyst.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thought there. Is it possible that this could actually encourage others to follow the Lord's command to take the gospel to the whole world, not just to the North Sentinelese?
It certainly has inspired me. And I wanted to think back on my own life and say, what risks am I willing to take to share the gospel of Jesus Christ? And it's my prayer that we will have a lot of missionaries that will go forth.
Coming up, a fierce standoff between Russia and Ukraine, which could lead to war in Europe. See why Christianity could be at the center of this conflict.